do me a favor, all right? Because this is what the show's going to be about tonight. Would you place your hand over your heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know something? Let me tell you. A lot of times, they've taken prayer and now the Pledge of Allegiance out of schools, all right? And put in anti-religious textbooks and sex education courses that make Screw Magazine, Al Goldstein, blush, all right? It's the issues of education that we're about to teach the liberals tonight, all right? A lesson they ain't gonna forget. Join us. Come on. Let me introduce our guests at home base and our guest at loudmouth number one, and this is the first segment. We have Roger Libby, who is a sexologist and a columnist with us at home base. And at loudmouth number one, we have Dr. Shirley Correll with the Florida Pro Family Forum. Right. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, Roger. Let me go first to you, Shirley. You call sex education a form of child abuse. Now, what I want to ask is, how are today's so-called sex educators abusing and misinforming our kids?
Well, there is a cute little mechanism set up whereby first you flood the nation with pornography, then you use that as an excuse for sex education. And then many of the same people that write the pornography write the sex education. And then you use sex education as a solution. And then you put all of the same pornography on slides and show it to children. So what you have is...
Well, wait a second. I had kids who went to these schools, too.
Right.
They didn't get taught that stuff.
Well, you better hope they didn't get taught that. What happens
Not only did they not get taught that, the schools in general have very little sex education to even talk about, Shirley, and that's part of the problem. We need sex education, and we don't have it. You don't have sex education to even evaluate yet.
Well, this is the standard liberal line that we don't have it. But I can bring forth most of the books that are used, and it's even taught in the psychology courses. For instance, the psychology course book by Dr. Saul Gordon that teaches the kids to read Playboy magazine. Don't just look at the pictures. It teaches them how to send off and get his filthy sex comic books. It teaches them that masturbation is fine, that homosexuality is fine.
I remember a book that was in the Syracuse school system about 10 years ago. I forget what it was. It was from K through 12. Is what does K mean kindergarten?
These people,
does K mean kindergarten?
K means kindergarten.
In this particular book, it had how boys should apply vaginal foam to a girl, how girls could apply colored condoms to a guy, and how there was nothing wrong with a boy playing with another boy's penis and a girl.
Yeah.
That was perfectly normal, not to think of yourself as strange in any way for that. And this was K through 12.
Well,
but I was by that great group, Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, well, first of all, that you have a whole mechanism. You have a sex industry today. You have people like this fellow who makes a living.
I don't even know what he is yet.
He's a sexologist, if he is what you said he is.
Well,
okay.
I've written articles and books with Saul Gordon, if that helps.
Yeah, well, that should qualify you. He's a pretty filthy fella, and he calls himself a polymorphous pervert. So that ought to say exactly what he is if he calls himself that. But what this happens...
He's a fun guy, really.
Yeah, he is if you like dirty old men. He sexualizes children. He sexualizes little children. He destroys the intimacy of sex, which is its most important product, is intimacy. Only in uncivilized nations do people perform sexually out of the privacy of their home or discuss their sexual
Let me go to Roger a second. Let me get this thing rolling a little bit. Roger, as an advocate, all right, I understand you're an advocate. If it feels good, do it.
With responsibility. I emphasize safe sex and sex education more.
At what age do you propose we should begin teaching kids about sexuality?
As early as they can learn about it, from kindergarten through 12th grade in the public schools, and even earlier in the home.
Okay, two questions. What, at the age of kindergarten, do we teach them about?
Just very basic facts about the beauty of life and how reproduction occurs. Nothing, you know, real complicated more. Nothing. You're not going to get into IUDs or anything in age 5. We're going to talk about just normal loving and how sex and reproduction are a part of that.
Normal loving. We're going to teach them about how mommy and daddy have a baby, daddy inserts, etc. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Who's going to teach this?
Parents initially. I think parents need to do some sex education in the home, and I think the kindergarten and first grade teachers have a role as well, and so does the church and other agencies in society. I don't think any one source can do sex education. I think we all have to make our contributions.
Well, but you would say the primary source of sex education should be the parent or the guardian.
Initially, the primary source
Well, why do you say initially?
Because
at what point do we as parents turn over the authority of our kids to the teachers?
I don't think you turn over authority. I think the teachers supplement what you do in the home, and they have a different role because teachers can be a little more objective about sex than parents because they're emotionally involved. You have an incest barrier in the family and a lot of reasons.
You have an incest what?
Barrier in the family.
And you have some teachers who like to get it out on little kids, too, all right?
Well, that's just not accurate at all. I mean,
don't tell me it's not
hear
accurate.
About
if you've got parents who want to screw their kids, obviously you have teachers who want to screw them.
There are cases of that occurring. There are cases of all kinds of perversions and things that shouldn't occur in violence in society. But they're the exception more. Most teachers are not out there screwing children. Let's face it.
And most parents aren't in the incest business.
And most.
But you made sure you brought up incest.
But I brought it up.
Another put down, Roger, baby, of the family.
No, right? Incest is a lot more common than teachers getting involved with their kids.
I doubt it very much.
Yes, it is.
I doubt it very much.
Well, look at the research data.
You give me your research. Give me some figures. You're here as an expert. Give me figures.
Yep, the University of New Hampshire's done research on incest, and they show that it's fairly common.
Shirley, how damaging? And incidentally, what are your qualifications when I ask you a question about how damaging is it to a youngster to be taught about an orgasm at 5 years old? Why are you qualified to give me the answer?
All right, I have a doctorate in education, and I would tell you that it is damaging. It is damaging to do this.
Where's your doctorate from?
It's from Freedom University in Orlando, Florida.
I've never heard of it. And I have a PhD. I'm a researcher. I think I know a little bit more about this than you do.
Listen, it doesn't.
Oh my God, a Bible college?
Yeah. Is it against the law?
Your credentials are not valid. Okay.
All right, you say they're not valid because I come from a moral
sociology
position.
at Washington State University with a focus on sexuality and marriage and the family.
Okay.
All right, he's hiding behind a mortarboard to destroy the morals of our nation. These people say their degrees make them qualified to destroy those things that are permanent. They are the destroyers of permanent things in society.
All right, what about the question I just asked you? How damaging is it to a 5-year-old youngster to teach him about an orgasm? Because to teach him about an orgasm, you either got to teach him penetration, masturbation, or oral.
Well, first of all, it's very damaging. It's very damaging because children have a normal latency period in which thoughts of sex are subliminated. And during this time, they don't have any experience to draw from. And unless someone sexually stimulates them...
Don't we often see little infants in cribs and in beds playing with their privates and everything? I mean, isn't that a form of sexuality?
Well, children will touch their private parts, and they may even find that it feels good. But,
I hope so. I hope so.
But we don't encourage children to do that.
Why not?
Well,
because their cognitive reasoning powers hasn't come into effect yet, Roger. And if the cognitive reasoning isn't there at the age of 5, you're not going to be able to teach them responsibility.
You don't have to have cognitive reasoning to have an orgasm. You had them when you were young.
No, pal, but you have to have cognitive reasoning to know when it's right, when it's wrong, when it's good, when it's
is it wrong to have an orgasm with yourself?
When I'm standing in front of your face. Next, we'll go from a condom on the you-know-what to a paddle on the butt. Corporal punishment coming up. Stay with us.
Today, there's a way way to lose weight without being hungry and without caffeine to make you nervous.
I lose weight because I'm not hungry. And Dexatrim's caffeine-free, so I don't feel nervous or jittery.
Dexatrim's amazing. I lost weight without being hungry, and that never happened before.
Just one caffeine-free Dexatrim works all day, morning through bedtime, to control your appetite and help you lose weight.
The pounds came off, and I feel great.
Today's caffeine-free Dexatrim. Nothing works harder to help you lose weight.
When you have trouble falling asleep, take the sleeping aid ingredient that's the doctor's choice, the one in Sleepinal. In a survey, 7 out of 10 doctors chose the sleeping aid in Sleepinal. Sleepinal contains the doctor's choice to fall asleep fast.
In just 1 week, I lost enough weight to actually see the difference.
The Slim Fast Pledge. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight. Each Slim Fast shake is a delicious, nutritious, low-calorie meal.
1 week and the weight was gone.
Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
Wall Furniture Outlets, WFO.
We're entertaining at WFO Wall Furniture Outlets. Now at all locations, see our beautiful collection of entertainment centers, priced for every budget. Contemporary and traditional styles in rich California oak, perfect for TVs, VCRs, and tapes. So let us entertain you at Wall Furniture Outlets. We'll make the most of your walls and more.
Wall Furniture Outlets.
Credit cards. In today's world, they're a must. But what if you've had past credit problems? And how do you get a card if you've never had credit before?
You can now receive a Visa and MasterCard by calling the number on your screen. Anyone can apply regardless of past credit history, even bankruptcy. It's better than cash and backed by a federally insured banking institution. Call now and enjoy the privileges and benefits of a Visa and MasterCard. Do it now. Call today.
There are worlds inside our minds, worlds of peace and beauty. But when our minds wander too far, we lose control and enter the dark, deadly world of Freddy Krueger, where nightmares come alive. Experience Freddy's World every Saturday when A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Nightmares, comes to Channel 9. Don't let him catch you sleeping.
From now on, your Saturday nights will be a real scream.
Transportation for the Morton Downey Jr. Show furnished by Quality Limousine Service. When in New Jersey, call 201-785-9071.
Let me introduce a new guest at home base. We have Dr. Irwin Hyman, the National Center for the Study of Corporal Punishment. And, of course, Dr. Shirley Correll remains at loudmouth number 1. Dr. Hyman, let me start with you first. Considering the state of our schools today, and we know in some cases they're in bad shape, I can't believe that anyone would be against stronger discipline. Now, how can you possibly be opposed to giving teachers the leverage to regain control in the classroom? I'm not saying through brutality, but through at least the image that there could be punishment if you get out of line.
Well, I guess part of the answer to you is that I live in America, and it's a democracy, and we don't believe that fear is the way to instill respect
and learning. So you're wrong,
sir.
You live in a republic, not a democracy.
Okay.
First, learn your history.
Okay. I'm going to teach you a little history in a minute.
You'd need a paddle, sir, to teach me history.
The point is now I'll teach you about research. And the last time I was on, you quoted research from some newspaper or the National Geographic. The fact is that in New Jersey, we haven't had corporal punishment in over 100 years. In Florida, where this woman's phony degree is from, it so happens...
Where's your doctorate from, sir?
My doctor's from Rutgers in New Jersey.
Okay.
University. It so happens that all of the research that I've conducted and other people have conducted for the last 40 or 50 years on punishment shows it's an ineffective way to hit kids. Now, this woman comes from Florida, which is one of the only 2 states in the country that don't even give parents rights. Parents can't stop their kids from getting hit in Florida. And I'd like to show some pictures of the kind of damage that's done in places like Florida. And I testified in the Florida legislature where there's abject ignorance by half of those legislatures that don't even want parents to be able to stop their kids from being brutalized like this. Show the pictures.
Let's see.
Where are they?
Roll them out. We'll run it, pal. You sit there.
Okay.
Probably a picture of your wife after you got through sex. Another one?
I don't
Are
confuse
these youngsters,
sexes.
sir?
These are all kids. These are cases I've been involved
Those
with.
seem to be pretty
and the
well-developed
right-wing, Bible-thumping fundamentalists say this is not child abuse. Schools can do this to the kids, and every one of these cases, the parents were driven out of the community.
That's child abuse.
No, it isn't. According to those people, it's not child abuse. And I'll give you cases from all over the country where they say it's not child abuse. You're full of crap, lady. I've been in courts in the South. I've been in Pinellas County.
Let me hear, Shirley. Let me hear the doctor.
I think the gentleman's guilty of libel, since I have never said that it's all right to abuse children, and to my knowledge, I have not heard any of the conservative right say such a thing. Let me tell you something.
Let me ask you, doctor, don't you think that is abuse?
That is abuse. That is child abuse. But let me go further.
I'll let her finish.
It is equally as much abuse to a child to let him turn incorrigible. And what you have, sir, I think it's foolish even to give you credibility. That's what I think.
About credibility.
I think that you are, along with some of the other gentlemen we're going to see here this evening, are at the forefront of a political movement that wants to remove the right of control from children, from the parents.
You want to be hit? You all want to be hit by teachers like that? And you want to know something?
Listen,
fundamentalist ministers have gone to jail to protect that right.
Few parents or few teachers do that. There are a few. There are a few people who will.
After they do it, the right wing protects those teachers.
Why don't you prosecute them instead of trying to
Because
take
the communities and the right wing people don't want to prosecute.
Listen, that is not
Lady,
true.
you don't understand about Florida.
Absolutely not true.
Florida has. Listen, if you think
if anyone does that to a child, they ought to be prosecuted. However,
they aren't in Florida. I'm telling you, they aren't.
No, there is a law in Florida where they can't be, and that's wrong.
That's
no,
right.
there is no such law.
Yes.
Tell me there's no law.
Yes, there is. Shirley, doctor, wait a second. I did look into that, all right? And they have tried 5 different times.
That's right.
To bring those teachers under prosecution in each and every instance. It has been dropped and turned away as unlawful.
The Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. That was Solomon, by the way. He had lots of kids, lots of wives. Why don't you promote lots of wives? Why don't you let the Song of Solomon be read?
Let me ask.
I'll give her a chance.
Let me ask Shirley.